Hey y'all. So today's video is kind of a lark. I got the idea last night and then I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going to try to review everything I've ever tried from Glossier all in one video. It's not everything. I haven't tried everything from Glossier, but it's a number of things. It's a lot. And so I'm gonna try to spend less than a minute on each product. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. My name is Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I'm definitely a quality over quantity person when it comes to beautiful things. Glossier as a brand has been really hit or miss for me. And the things that have been misses, I don't even have them around anymore because I don't feel like it's worth keeping something if you don't really love it. So if quality over quantity beauty content sounds good to you, please subscribe to my channel. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Do you think she's gonna stay here for the whole video? If she stays here for, Sadie, if you stay here for the whole video, we can call it reviewing 30 Glossier products in 30 minutes holding a cat. I feel like that would go over well in the algorithm. Sadie doesn't care about the algorithm. So I've pulled up the shop all products on the Glossier website and I'm scrolling through and I'm just going to pick out the products that I've tried one by one in the order in which they appear on the site, and I'm going to talk about them one by one. The first thing that has come up is the Milky Jelly Cleanser. I tried this back in the day when Glossier was first launching and I was trying everything, and it's nice, but it doesn't feel very thorough to me. It's like pleasant to use, a nice experience, but it only works as like the definitely second cleanse. If you wear makeup, a second cleanse, if your first cleanse is really, really thorough. So if you're using an oil cleanser that gets almost everything off your face and you want your second cleanser to be just something really gentle and mild that comes through and does like a last wash, then Milky Jelly will work for you. I found that after I used it up, I wasn't compelled to buy another one. And it's also partly because of the cost per use. I felt like I was going through it kind of quickly and having to rebuy it a lot, and it was ending up kind of costing more. I feel like you can find similarly mild, pleasant cleansers, something so simple. You can find similar things that have way better value, like way better cost per use. So I've never repurchased that. The priming moisturizer is another thing that I tried way back when it launched, way back when it started. And I really liked it, but at the time, I felt like I wasn't totally sure that it wasn't clogging my pores. This was just the regular one, not the rich one. It felt really rich and thick, and I loved how nourishing it was. I loved how bouncy it made my skin feel, but I was never totally convinced that it wasn't aggravating my acne, so I stopped using it. I also feel like compared to other skincare products, I mean, there's like a world of good, inexpensive, plain skincare out there. I feel like you can find something really similar to the Glossier Priming Moisturizer in the K-beauty realm that costs way, way less per ounce. Let's talk about Future Dew. This is a product that I really like. I've gone through almost an entire bottle. Like I'm almost through the bottle that I bought for myself. I really like it because sometimes I have really dry skin, so dry that no makeup looks good on it. Like any makeup, any kind of concealer, any kind of corrector just picks up on the bits of dry skin. I find that Future Dew stays so dewy. It's almost like you've put down a layer of something glossy and damp and tacky on your skin. So it soothes that effect. It makes it so that I can actually wear makeup on my super dry skin without it just picking up on all the dry patches and looking yucky. It also helps treat the skin, like it helps moisturize the skin. So for that reason, I've gotten a ton of use out of it. I've really loved it. The thing about it though is it doesn't set, it's not as sturdy. When my skin's in better shape, I tend to default to more makeup-y illuminators like the one from Auric or the one from Chanel. Okay, let's talk about Super Pure, the niacinamide and zinc serum. I tried all three of the Super serums back when they came out. I didn't know that much about skincare at that time, and so I thought it was like the cat's pajamas, you know? I was like, serum all over the place. Since then, I've learned several things about these serums. One, the initial packaging, a half ounce for like $20 or something per serum, or 25, I think. 28, it was like a half ounce for 28. Is that what they initially did? It was so expensive. It was so expensive. Now they've doubled the size of the serum, but like kept the price the same, I think. So it's a way better price per ounce now, but it's still really expensive. $30 for just a little simple niacinamide serum, niacinamide and zinc serum, when you can get the exact same thing from The Ordinary, from the Inkey List. I'm never going to buy them again. So that's super pure, the niacinamide and zinc. Niacinamide and zinc is a great serum. That's a great thing to use if you have redness, acne. So I support that. I'm not going to Glossier for that kind of thing. Super Glow, the vitamin C one, I think is the least good decision. If you're going to buy serums from Glossier, don't get your vitamin C from them, because it's there's so much about vitamin C. It's a little bit unstable. The fresher it is, the better it is. And at the very baseline, it shouldn't be stored in a container that lets light in. And this is just like a frosted glass container. Light can penetrate this container and spoil the vitamin C. But I'm not even convinced that the vitamin C is in a very effective formulation to begin with in this Glossier serum. I just feel like these serums they're lightweights. You know what I mean? They're not serious skincare. They're very, very basic, and they're charging way too much for what they are. Super Bounce, which is the hyaluronic acid one, I'm sure it's lovely because a hyaluronic acid serum is a great thing to have. But again, if it's just simple hyaluronic acid serum and vitamin B together in one serum, if it's that simple of a product, just 2 ingredients basically, then don't pay $30 for it. Even if it's a full ounce, get it from the Inkey List or get it from The Ordinary. Let's talk about the masks. All the skincare is at the top. I've tried both masks from Glossier. So the Mega Greens Galaxy Pack is the one that's like a clay mask. I don't tend to get along with clay masks because I have dry skin. This one I actually did enjoy. I actually got along pretty well with this mask. I never felt like it was pulling all the moisture out of my skin. It always felt like it invigorated my skin just a little bit. I love the smell. I love applying it. In terms of the sensation and everything, it's just really, really lovely. I don't think though that I saw incredible results from this. I don't think that it was I feel like my skin is in bad shape, so I'm going to use the Mega Greens Galaxy Pack and then it's going to be in amazing shape. But it's always good to apply a simple paste to your face, especially if you're in the bath, just to apply something to your face to lock moisture in for a little while, let your skin kind of stew in its juices. I think that I got a very basic benefit from this and I enjoyed using it. And I have actually repurchased it a handful of times. The Moisturizing Moon Mask, on the other hand, I actually did see palpable benefits from when I used it. And I repurchased that a bunch of times. Going into my no buy year, it was my favorite mask, and I bought a backup of it, which I never do. I never buy backups. I feel with the Moisturizing Moon Mask, if my skin was starting to really act up, I felt like breakouts were imminent, and I applied a thick layer of it and left it on for an hour or two one evening and then washed it off, and then skincare and bed, I always woke up the next morning with the situation a little bit calmed. I just felt like there was something about the Moisturizing Moon Mask that really helped my skin to calm down. So I do think that that is a really good product. I like both of the masks from Glossier, especially like the Moisturizing Moon Mask. Okay, let's talk about the Balm.com. I have tried the Balm.com in, I think, just 2 flavors. I had the coconut one initially when, again, back when Glossier was first new, back when Glossier was shiny new and I was I'm so into this. I was I'm gonna buy myself one, and I bought myself the coconut one. It was one of the earliest ones, and I never really liked it. I didn't like the coconut smell. It was such a basic, just salve. It's just like Vaseline. It's like flavored Vaseline, and that is a good occlusive. So, if you put it on top of moisturized skin, it's gonna help lock in the moisture, but I never found it to be moisturizing. So if I had super dry lips and I put it on, it would just sit on top of my lips. It wouldn't fix the problem. So I'm not a huge Balm.com fan. I never feel like I'm actually treating my lips when I apply it or treating any part of my skin. I just feel like I'm putting on an occlusive layer. And the coconut one, I forced myself to get through it. I made myself use it, and I never really loved it. But then years later, I was given the rose one as a gift, and I really like the rose smell, so I find myself appreciating it and using it more, but it's kind of separated in the tube. The Balm.com is a big no from me. I have this Soothing Face Mist. This was a gift. I think my friend Simbri had a bottle she wasn't using. She gave it to me. And I really don't like it because I do like the rose smell, and I'm sure it's a perfectly lovely substance, but the sprayer is so fine. It's like that fog mist, and something about the dispersion of the heavily rose scented or rose water based mist in such fine particles, it always makes me cough, which is weird because I don't have like sensitive sinuses or lungs or anything. I'm not a person who often is made to cough by like perfumes or anything like that. But whenever I spray this Glossier rose water spray on my face, I'm like, like it gets all up in my business. And so I actually don't use it as a face spray. I just use it to wet the glycerin soap that I use to set my brows. So like I use it for soap brows instead of water. And in that way, I'm hoping to use it up. So I definitely wouldn't buy it again as a face mist, but it's working perfectly fine, repurposed. The Glossier hand cream, I love the scent of Glossier You, and that's their perfume. And so I really like how it's a very heavily scented, the hand cream is. Every time I use it, Joe is like, what is that? Because he is someone who like heavy scents will sometimes kind of like make him cough or irritate him. So even if I just apply this to my hands, like he'll come into the room 5 minutes later and be like, what did you do? Like, what did you apply? That's how heavily scented it is. So that's not ideal for us, but I really like the smell of it. So I like that it's scented. And the cream is fantastic. It's a really, really good hand cream. When my hands get super dry, it always fixes them. Everything about it is great. I find the packaging to be very strange. It's a weird shape, the weird red nubbin. It's like very avant-garde and also very sexual in this abstract way. Maybe that's in its favor. Everything about it is like either good or super weird, and I feel like that's kind of good. I'm a fan of the hand cream. Okay, next up, Ultra Lip. I just did a full review. If you're interested in the Glossier Ultra Lip and you'd like to know my extensive thoughts and see me try on 4 of the colors, then click through to that video. I'll leave it linked down below. The verdict was that I like it. I actually do really like it. And I ended up wearing the palest one, which is called, what's it called? I don't have time to remember what it's called. The palest one, Lucite. I ended up wearing it a ton on the trip that I just went on. I really have liked Trench a lot too, the brown one. It's a great product. The really bright colors or statement colors are super messy, hard to keep inside your lip line with that. So that's the one caveat, but I do think that they did a good job with the Ultra Lip. It's a yes from me just in general. Boy Brow, I've gone through so many tubes of Boy Brow. Initially, I didn't really know like what the possibilities were for eyebrows. So I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I was like, I'm gonna have boy brows, you know? Over time, I realized that it doesn't hold my brows in place. The hold is not strong, and I have kind of stubborn, wiry brows. Right when I brushed it in, it would look great. And then an hour later, they'd be back in their original weird patchy position. So it's just never worked for me. Boy Brow is for people who have less high maintenance brows than I do, or they want less out of their brows than what I want. The thing that caused me though to stop buying it initially wasn't that, because I stopped buying it before I realized that I could look elsewhere for a stronger hold. The thing that stopped me was cost per wear. I was going through like a tube a month, and that's $16 a month, like constantly buying it, constantly replacing it. It was just too much. The stretch concealer I also tried back in the day, and it's also something that I wasn't convinced that it wasn't contributing to clogged pores, and so I stopped using it. I think maybe I could revisit it because I've looked at the ingredients. I've examined the ingredients since I've learned more about ingredients and pore clogging ingredients. And I actually think it probably wasn't what was clogging my pores back in the day. I just thought it might have been, so I eliminated it from my routine. It is a beautiful, beautiful concealer. It's a beautiful product. I would like to try it again. I just have other concealers that work perfectly fine. I don't feel the need for more concealers, so I haven't decided to give it another try again. But for anyone who likes skin-like coverage, makeup that really looks like skin but is effective, I would recommend the Glossier Stretch Concealer. I think it's one of the best things that they've ever made. Cloud Paint, also one of the best things that they've ever made. I originally bought Dusk and Beam, and I found Beam to be too orange for me. As I got older and got into my 30s, I started veering away from like those tangerine-y or even any kind of like super peachy cheeks. But Dusk is probably the best blush shade, especially the best liquid blush shade that I've ever seen. It's incredible. It's a liquid formula, goes on seamlessly, blends out perfectly, but sets down and doesn't budge. The thing that I think tells the tale about how good Cloud Paint is that you can use it on your eyelids, and once it sets, it doesn't crease. And so it's really like a stay all day. For something to buff out so beautifully and give you such an effortless watercolor effect and look kind of dewy and skin-like and then not budge all day, it's a unicorn. It's one of a kind. I'm a huge fan of cloud paint. Lash Slick, hate it. I can't with Lash Slick. I could only ever get like this tiny little bit. This is their mascara, just a little bit of painted. It was just like painting my eyelashes with black water. It's the opposite of what I like. Like I like mascara to add volume and length. It adds nothing. I mean, I try not to get too dramatic about these things. It's not a big deal. It's just makeup. But part of me feels like a little bit indignant about how badly Lash Slick worked for me. The Perfecting Skin Tint, I really liked for a long time. I used it for a long time. These days I have too many blemishes, like too much to cover to use something so liquidy, so simple. I need a little bit more coverage than that. I'm using a little more base makeup these days than that. But it was like all through grad school, and a little bit after, I used this all the time I would use it as like my only makeup basically. And then I'd do a little bit of spot concealer, maybe a little under eye concealer with a stretch concealer. I was a real Glossier complexion girl for a while there. And I never suspected this of breaking me out. There's nothing in it that made me worry about it. The reason that I continued to use it even after I stopped using other Glossier, like the moisturizers, the serums, the concealer, but I ultimately switched it out for a little bit of more heavy duty complexion products and things that just were a little more precise, a little bit better match for my skin. But it's another one that if the purpose is right for you, then I do think it's a great product and I've recommended it to a lot of my friends, honestly. Generation G, this is the lipstick, which I did buy right when it launched. I think it's gone through a couple of iterations. So I bought the shade Leo right when it launched. It was the first time that I realized how great like a warm brown, a warm sort of mid-toned brown can be as a lip product. And I was really, really into it for a long time. But the problem that I initially had with the formula was that it would be gone in like a minute. So I would apply it and I would love the way that the color looked. It was like it just evaporated. It's not even eating, drinking, talking. It would just like evaporate into thin air. It just didn't stick around. Since they changed the formula and beefed up the packaging, I think it has become something that has a little bit more longevity. But the thinness and the waxiness of it, even though I really love the color, I just find myself almost never reaching for it. I think it's a good product, but my actual actions towards the one that I have, because I have a new version of Leo, the current version, I like it and I think it's a good product, but I almost never wear it. I don't know what else to say about that. The lip gloss I've tried in the clear. What everyone says is true. It's like very glassy and goopy and very satisfyingly shiny, but I found that what I wanted to do was keep applying it and keep getting that like layered glassy look. And I would put so much on that it would just like fall off my lips kind of. And I don't know if that was user error, but I just had a tumultuous relationship with it. It was almost like it promised something and then I tried to get that thing out of it and then it like couldn't deliver. And I ultimately ended up not using up, I used up most of the tube that I had, I think. I used up most of the tube, but I ultimately ended up kind of letting it go and not missing it. The Brow Flick, little paint on brow pencil, I quite like. It does come in handy sometimes when I just need to fill in a tiny bit of my brows. It's pretty precise, easy to use, and it's pretty waterproof. I think of this kind of thing, it's a really good one. Of this kind of brow pen, it's a really good version of this kind of thing. Because I use soap in my brows, a lot of times like the ink from this kind of thing won't draw over my brows, and because it's like the soap like repels the water-based ink. So I can't use this to like be the thing that I use in my brows all the time, my one and only, my perfect brow product. It's never going to be like that between me and any kind of microfine detailing brow pen. But I'm glad that I have this. I do keep it around. I do use it from time to time as like an around the edges, filling in the little bits helper. Talking about Brow Flick made me self-conscious about my brows. Moving on, Haloscope. I had Moonstone for a while and it was like one of the first dewy highlight. I feel like this product kind of kicked off the like dewy, balmy, glassy, sparkly cream cheek Like they were doing it before anyone was doing it. It was one of their earliest products. And it would be great if it didn't have that solid core of balm in the middle. It's like you're applying a beautiful cream highlighter mixed with chapstick to your face. It stays like that all day. It's sticky. It looks really pretty, but I just can't with that. I can't with that sticky cheek. Sky Wash, I actually did try. I tried it in the dark brown shade, which I think is called Echo. It's okay. It's just, I was never able to get the seamless like blend. I find with these liquid eyelid products, and I've never tried Lid Star, the shiny one, but both it and Sky Wash, I don't even like how the models look on the Glossier website. It looks creased in the pictures, and it looks like the models had a hard time blending it out. The edges look awkward. I just don't like I like a monochromatic eye, like a monotone sparkly eye or a monotone matte eye in theory, but I just don't like the way that it's achieved with these products. I just don't really think that they blend and set very elegantly. I've never tried Lid Star again. That's my guess based on the pictures, but that was my experience with Sky Wash. Wowder. I am not really a powder person, and I just picked it up one time because I was placing an order with some of my Glossier credit for stuff for review, and I was like, I didn't really have a powder, and I was like, maybe I should just pick this up and see how it works. And then because I've had more acne lately and because of wearing a mask, I've ended up powdering more over the past several months than I ever did before. And I'm so impressed by this powder. I'm actually wearing quite a bit of it today. The other thing is when they first launched it, they didn't have a light enough shade. They didn't have like a shade for people as light as I am. When they increased the shade range to include this like lightest shade, I think that was when I ended up getting it to try. And so because the shade works for me, it's nice that it adds like a teeny tiny bit of coverage. Like it just helps a little bit with calming down the appearance of blemishes, unevenness, and texture, but it is pretty invisible on the skin. I hate the look of powdered skin. It never looks good on me. I mean, powdered skin can look great on people, but it never works for me. But Wowder never gives me that look. I'm actually really impressed by it. I'll probably buy it again when I use it up. Okay, body. I've tried a number of body products from Glossier. The Body Hero Dry Touch Oil Mist was recently in my empties. The oil itself is amazing. It's so lovely. I loved putting it like all over my legs after I got out of the shower. I do have kind of dry skin. It really helped. Everything about it is perfect, except it's a glass bottle with a spray tube. It's almost impossible to use without it slipping all over the place. It's glass. You're in your bathroom. It's about to hit the floor and smash all the time. It was so stressful and I felt dangerous to use. But then I realized that it actually has a screw cap. You don't have to put the spray pump in. So if I ever get it again, I'll just keep it with a screw cap and have the bottle be one that you pour out. That's perfectly fine for it. But the spray on the glass bottle, this oily, slick thing, when you're all wet and steamy in your hot, wet, steamy bathroom, the design is terrible of that. It's just the substance is good. Body Hero Exfoliating Bar. As exfoliators go, as exfoliating bars go, it's a great one. It's great. It lasts for a long time. As Julia said when we did a video where we reviewed all the body scrubs we've ever tried, it's like taking a bath with a really nice smelling piece of sandpaper. It's very exfoliating with very fine grains, fine sandy grains. You can really go at yourself with it and it smells really good. It smells like Glossier U. It's good. I actually think it's good. I haven't been compelled to get it again since I got it that one time, but for what it is, it's good. The oil wash, again, I really like. I think I feel kind of similarly about all of these products. The oil wash, the exfoliating, and the oil, which is that, the exfoliating bar and the oil, which is that they're really nice. They're just overpriced, I feel. Like, I just feel like the Body Hero exfoliating bar, if it was $10 instead of $14, the dry oil is almost $30. I feel like if that was like $15 or $16, that would be more worth it. And I feel like the oil wash, I don't know, I went through, it's beautiful. It's like this slightly foamy oil that you use to wash your body and it smells really good. I just went through it kind of quickly. I mean, I feel like if it were more like $12 or $13 instead of almost $20, or if it was like a much bigger bottle for the $20, then the cost per use would make a lot more sense to me. But as it is, these feel like really spendy luxuries for this kind of thing, not basics that it makes sense to repurchase again and again. The Body Hero Daily Perfecting Cream, however, this was terrible. I tried it and it's so silicone-y that it pills horribly. I really tried to make it work, but it's like this sort of plasticky feeling, nice smelling cream, and you're rubbing it in and it feels like it's going to be really nice. And then all of a sudden it just pills city, like pills everywhere. That's all I remember. I tried it way back when it first came out. I think that's all that I can say. I remember working really hard to get it to work though. Like I tried it on dry skin and damp skin, and I tried it in all of these different ways. And the formula is just really, really off. I don't know if they've updated it or anything since then, but the one that they initially launched definitely did not work for me. All right, let's talk about Glossier You, the perfume. It's great. I don't really like fresh things. I like sort of like rich, spicy, smoky, ambery, vanilla-y things. And this doesn't quite have that. It does have warm undertones, but I do like unusual, weirdy, spicy. And so it does have a little bit of like that cedar wood iris thing going on. It's just very comfortable and cozy. It smells addictive without being overpowering. I like it. I feel like it's a good go-to everyday scent. I had a bottle a couple of years ago and I went through the whole bottle. It was like always the scent I wore when I didn't feel like wearing any of my more statement scents. It was sort of my default baseline. I think it's perfectly lovely. Is that everything? I didn't talk about the vanillic lips because they didn't come up on the site because they're discontinued. And the same with the color slide. I've tried both of those, but they're not available anymore. So I guess I'm just reviewing what turned out to be 28 products, if you don't count different colors of things, but 28 products from Glossier that are still available that I've tried because I've been talking for 28 minutes. And I think I did a pretty good job of keeping it to roughly 1 minute. Some things took a little more than 1 minute. Some things took a little less than 1 minute. But overall, I kept it to the 28 minutes for 28 products. Let's get Sadie for the outro. We did it, Sadie. Sadie wants to know when Glossier is going to be coming out with their cat line. Glossier Meow. Inquiring cats want to know Glossier. One thing I did want to say before closing is that some of these products I have tried because I was buying a bunch of Glossier back in the day. Like before my no-buy year when I was still an overspender on beauty products, every time they came out with something, I was like, I've got to have it. And that's part of where my knowledge base comes from. Obviously, I don't support that behavior anymore and I don't behave that way anymore. But I have continued to try products from Glossier. And that's because I have a friend referral code, which isn't an influencer thing. It's just like anyone can have one. If someone uses your friend code, they get a discount when they click through and they shop, and you get a little bit of store credit. I've accrued some store credit and I've used it to continue trying things so that I can continue to review things. So that is why I have tried such a, to me, shockingly large number of things from Glossier. This makes me want to do this with other brands, although I don't know how many brands I know that I've tried enough things of that I could do this. I'll think about it. There might not be any, but I will think about it. Let me know if you think of any that you think that I could do this, like X products in X number of minutes, maybe not even all from one brand, but like I could do like reviewing 15 red lipsticks in 15 minutes or something. Do you want to see that? Let me know. I so appreciate you for being here. I hope that this one was fun. And that I hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.